Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's National PCDM webcast from Microsoft. Today we have a very important session. First, we have the privilege to host Steve Noel from Cloud IT, a division of Commandery, who's going to come and talk to us about their best practices around Office 365, as well as Sharon Bennett, who's going to talk to us about some of the updates happening in the Windows Server 2012 world. Before we move forward, I'm going to pass the mic to my peer Brian, who's going to give us a few updates on where we stand on some of the important Microsoft programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frederick. As Frederick had mentioned, we're just going to go through a couple of the updates and announcements now before we get into the key content of our presentation today. As many of you are aware, there's been some changes regarding the MPN support for our partner community. We just want to highlight a few of these changes here, whether you're a gold or silver partner or if you're moving from network to maps. Please reach out to your PCDM for further details on this. There's a lot more content that is being made available to us on a daily basis. So again, please reach out to your PCDM and feel free to contact us and the support that is available through the different chats and phone line to make sure that we are getting the proper certifications for you. As well, I just wanted to highlight a couple of other things that are available for us in the partner community. We do have the Cloud Starter Kit website that is available to you. Again, you've probably seen notifications on this. We encourage all our partners to go through these sites. The site is something that many of you have been asking for, and we now have access to essentially everything cloud related all in one portal for you. And finally, I want to just highlight we have our World Partner Conference that is coming up in July. Again, reach out to your PCDM for details. This year is going to be very exciting. We've got key talking tracks based around cloud, data, devices, mobility, and social. It's apart from all of these sessions that will be made available for you, it is an excellent opportunity for you to network with partners that are from all over the world and even locally and across our country. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Frederick to talk about our Yammer site.
So as I'm assuming all of us now are aware about this amazing rich resources called Microsoft Canada SMB Self-Managed Partner Community Yammer blog. This is a private blog where we only invite partners we talk to and where we share key information on what's happening in the cloud world as well as the overall Microsoft world. And so a lot of NDA content, 60% of this content is cloud-based, and resources such as today's webcast will also be available through that Yammer site. Great resources as well to exchange businesses with your other peers across the country. We've seen a lot of partners exchanging businesses because they were not in a specific expertise or because they were not operating in a certain geo. So with this being said, I'm going to pass the mic to our first host. We have the privilege of having him on the call today. His name is Steve Noel, VP of Cloud IT, Division of Commandery. And today Steve is going to walk us through their success magic recipe story on how they move from a customer base of 0 to about 350,000 seats customer base on Office 365 today. On this note, Steve, back to you. We're just going to make sure that Steve can speak and is not on mute.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you very much, Frederick and Brian, for giving us the opportunity to talk to you guys, and also for you guys, the partners, for listening to us and just giving us the opportunity to tell our story. So, as Frederick was saying, I'm Steve Noel from Cloud IT. I take care of mostly of business development and a few other things also as well. And I'd like to share with you guys what we've done in the past few years to help us grow our cloud business, and it's become a substantial, well, it's not become a substantial part. We've built a business around Office 365, and I think that it'd be interesting for you guys to understand how we've gone through this change and this transformation, and how we were able to be, I guess, somewhat, to a certain extent, a certain extent of success in that. So in 2014, where we're at Cloud IT, so if you look at the numbers, really, you can say that our customers total around 350,000 users in Office 365. We have over 100 active customers. Geographically, we're dispersed, whereas our legacy business or traditional business would be stuck more in a Greater Montreal area. Now we have lots of customers in Quebec City. We also have customers in Canada and even customers outside of Canada. If I can think just of one of our customers, which spans in the Middle East with offices in Dubai, and we also have customers that have offices in Europe as well. Mostly we're a consulting business and we provide business solutions. In terms of our Microsoft partnership is the, I guess, most important one we have. We have a few competencies with them, as you guys can see. One of the things that we were very proud of is being the first gold small business partner, which we see as the Office 365 competency in Canada. Aside from that, we have partnerships with Dell, with Bell, Inside, and SoftChoice, where we deliver services or Office 365 migrations on their behalf, and as well as we have specific verticals where we do good work in, which are education, transport, non-for-profits, and engineering. You can see as well that our expertise is mostly on Office 365, Lync, and SharePoint. You know, our business, our cloud business, what it is, when we had the opportunity to talk to Microsoft and seeing that they were going to become an all-in business and really move to the cloud, we saw this as a huge opportunity because we were a very small partner. We took the opportunity of, you know, becoming a market leader in that because we felt that it was a technology, or we felt that, you know, there was going to be a lot of emphasis on that over the next few years. So over the past few years, we worked with over 100 organizations. Not better, but we see things a certain way. And I was having this discussion with Frederick, is that, listen, when we first got started in the business, we had, you know, a lot of small customers that we needed to move to the cloud very fast. And what's helped us is that because we were very focused on moving people to Office 365, we decided to actually get our staff and ourselves trained on the software, trained on the technology. And when I talk about Office 365, obviously we're talking about here, I'm talking about specifically Exchange, because that's, I guess, the bread and butter of somebody that's deploying Office 365. And we had to develop custom scripts and custom tools to help us do that pretty fast. So now, you know, as we got more qualifications or more experience with these tools, we're able to deploy very fast. We don't focus on the technology. after a while, we noticed that it was easier for us to start packaging up the deployments a certain way and being able to be very high margin instead of telling the customer this is going to take you 24 hours to do so. We figured out how long it's going to take us to do for a certain number of users, and then we just give them a fixed fee. And with the experience we have, we're able to come close and be very profitable because we're not having a discussion with the customer on how many hours it's going to take to move them. We're more having a discussion, well, this is your project, and here's how you're going to get from A to B, and here's how much it's going to cost you. So no haggling with the customer. It's just I think I just got muted. Sorry about that. So the next step really for us was also doing remote delivery. We don't go on customer sites to actually do the deployment. Because this is a cloud, we can remote in, create, if we need to connect to the exchange, the customer's exchange server, we ask them for the ability to do so. We have NDAs and things like that in place. But, a lot of our customer base we haven't seen face to face. We have very good customers that are in Ontario even, some of them in Ottawa, some of them in Toronto, that are really good customers that we've never even seen, that continue to pay their bills and continue to be very good customers to us, and we're able to deliver the service at a very cheaply for us because we're not rolling up trucks or things of that nature. Service is very scalable. Once you're able to do it in the small business segment, it's really understanding what the mid-size needs and what the enterprise needs. And as you know, for us, when we found out, it was just as easy for us to move 100, maybe 250 users than it is to move 5,000 users. Just the technology is just wound out this way, that once you understand the process, you just need to take into consideration a few things and you're able to deliver a very scalable service. Delivery is very fast. We had to really understand on how the logistics, and when we came from an environment that was more of a where we installed servers, so it took a while for the customer to actually, for us to receive the server, for us to receive the software. Because he's remote, we're able to leverage his expertise throughout multiple customers because the customers are at different stages. Some of the new business opportunities that we've uncovered over the past few years are, first of all, is that just talking about the cloud or having this cloud discussion with a customer is really amazing, because a lot of the partners today, they're not necessarily having these discussions with the customers. So what's happening, a lot of these customers are actually doing researches online and finding out the products, and then going on the Microsoft Pinpoint site and just researching to see if they can find a partner. So all that is happening behind our competitors' back, because essentially he's not having this discussion with the customer. And I had a interesting discussion last week with a customer, which was saying, hey, we're going to change all this infrastructure. It's going to cost us thousands of dollars, and our present IT provider hasn't had the discussion with us about the cloud and how Office 365 can help us. So they're coming to us saying, well, they don't know if they want to continue working with this guy anymore. So it's giving us a huge opportunity, because we're having this discussion and we're not looking at at the customer in terms of how much revenue we can derive with the hardware and with the software. We're just looking at it as how we can improve the customer's business. And this opens up really a conversation that's which is more with the business decision makers than the IT department. Obviously, when you're talking about the cloud, you're really talking about now you're servicing customers that are at multiple locations, and these customers, instead of deploying VPNs and technologies like that, are looking at deploying secure technology and having everything hosted and not having to utilize as much as their bandwidth, their local bandwidth, with the uploads as much as they used to, and utilizing the power of the cloud to deliver that. So we're very fortunate enough that now are the customers that are coming to us, not necessarily customers that are strictly from Montreal or Quebec, but really customers that span out the country and that are interested in getting our expertise. Reoccurring revenue stream. A lot of people will say that it's not amazing, and I'll be the first to admit that the percentage that we're getting is not a great percentage in terms of, but it is, it adds up. But not only that, you can pile recurring services as well on top of these recurring fees, which gives you a very interesting stream of recurring revenue when you think about it, because when you start signing up customers on a regular basis, the upfront, at the bracket we're at right now, the upfront check for Microsoft is around 20%, and for the first year. And when you think about it, when we sell software, we don't really get a lot higher than that in terms of, so I think it's really good. And the fact that it piles up after a while, we really like our partner of record checks when they come in every month. I think that they can cover a lot of a few expenses at the office, so we're very excited about that. We're able also to cross-sell once a customer comes in, as have an opportunity to sell the managed services, other projects. It really becomes a net new customer. It's not we never saw the cloud as an opportunity to go to our customers and sell it, which is a great opportunity for our customers because it's good for them. But we really saw it as an opportunity to differentiate our offering versus some of what our competitors, other people are doing in the market. So we're seeing it as a net new way of actually getting new business inside of inside of our business. Partnership opportunities, ISPs, telecom companies, large resellers of software have either approached us or we've approached them to be able to offer our services. These are usually have thousands of customers, and they're always looking to they're not necessarily Office 360, they're not necessarily infrastructure experts, but they have a large customer base that needs the opportunity to be exposed to Office 365. And if you have some of these partners, or you have contacts, these are huge partnership opportunities that we've developed and that count for really good revenue in our business to have developed that relationship with these guys. Some of the new services that we offered as well was offering training, and it wasn't rocket science really. It was these customers just coming to us and say, well, this is a great platform. I'd like to know more. Can you offer us training? We'd like to move multiple servers, not only our email workload, but what are we doing with this line of business? So that's how we got into the Azure business. The customer comes to us and says, well, this is Office 365 is awesome, but I don't have the staff to manage it. We don't have the expertise. And then this opens up a huge window of opportunity for us just to say, well, we'll manage Office 365 for you, and for a fixed fee per month per user. The same thing as SharePoint as well. It's not something that was really on our radar, but once you have the customer base and say, listen, we can set up a SharePoint site collection for you. We can move your files on online for you and do that and offer that as a service, which is a tremendous upside to our business, is being able to broaden some of the services we offer. And each of these services, because they're value added, instead of being a service, whereas the customer is required to pay for support because their server broke down, because something is not working. You're just adding to the value of the customer. You're able to charge a lot more. A lot of our, pricing is completely changed from the model of break and fix or managed services, whereas we don't have as many competition, or, we're able to charge, fees that are a lot higher and actually have customers that are happy to pay these fees. So here are some of the, I guess, some best practices for selling, delivering, and for profitability. It's really what you really want to be discussing in terms of selling the cloud solution stack is really the lead with the cloud. So have the cloud discussion to actually show the customer that you're proposing something that's new and an alternative of doing things differently than what they've done it before. And once you've had this discussion, the customer is still going to have needs for on-premise. I mean, they're still going to have to buy desktops. A lot of our cloud installation have NAS, and not cheap NASs that are $200-300. Sometimes the NASs are $1,000, a couple of $1,000. Fixed fee pricing, the customers love that, just knowing that a specific project is going to cost them, no matter how much time it takes you. It'll take you a little bit of experience, but it's really good, because once you get really good, all you have to deal with is yourself and understanding what and how to spec out the customer really well, and then you can do fixed fee pricing, which is a lot higher than just being able to charge at $100 an hour, $150 an hour. We have successful projects where we can charge anywhere between $300 an hour to $400 an hour, but it's not painful for the customer because he doesn't know the actual work that's involved behind it, because we've developed scripts and we're doing things in an automated way so that we're able to provide the service at a reasonable fee for the customer, but still be very highly profitable with that. The other key also is focus on the ROI, focus on the productivity, focus on the collaboration, return on investment, not necessarily on the price of the solution itself, but what it brings to the business. In most cases, it's cheap. Some cases, it might not be as cheap as the customer would like it to be, but there's a lot of value inside of the suite, and it's to have the customer understand the value. Delivery, you want to deal with the project, whether they're small or big projects. You want to have a firm grasp on have some type of a checklist and have tight project management, because you're dealing with the customer's infrastructure and you're moving their email, which is very sensitive. Some people to a certain extent can live without the phone, but the emails is crucial. So you want to make sure that part of it is very tight and you have constant communication with the customer when that's happening. The other thing also is that you want to have, if you have a head engineer or you have senior staff, you want to have people that have a good understanding of Active Directory, a good understanding of email flow, a good understanding as well, and basic networking. And also, and lastly, is delivering services remotely. That cut our costs down a lot. And what we've done is, because the only part that you would think that'd be more difficult would be handling, or at first I thought was difficult, was handling the actual configuration of the smartphones. But people are very good with that nowadays. So if you give them enough information and it's detailed, you're going to be able to provide them with enough to be able to configure their desktop, their smartphone, and the desktops you can configure remotely yourself for the customer. So for profitability, you want to have a package offering. You want to have senior staff that are working across multiple projects and have junior resources that are executing, because we're doing these same type of projects, and because you're doing the same type of projects, you're going to have these. You're going to be very good at being able to do multiple projects at one time. And lastly, but not lastly, you have cross-selling opportunity. Once your customer comes in, even if it's only for the cloud, you have to look at their whole business and see how you can help them, evolve, or help them with other, some of their needs. We've had customers that came in just for the cloud or end up selling them 3 or 4 laptops a month, and then also the setting up of the laptops, which becomes a really good customer. And now we're doing some SharePoint work with them. So it's not about just having the customer and getting him for the deployments, but it's also delivering services, being able to build an ecosystem of services to actually, make sure that you're always making more revenue with that customer per se. And that's about it for my part.
Thank you so much, Steve, for those amazing insights. We're going to be taking Q&A at the end of the presentation and or post session, and we'll make sure to engage partners. If partners have questions or need some more guidance, can they also contact you for support? Are you guys offering this kind of service? I know a few partners have been asking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we're working with partners all over the country, whereas if they have a difficult migration to do, there's something we can help them with. And sometimes in some cases the project might be a little bit might be a little harder. Come in and we'll work something out with the partner and we'll help out. And this is something that we do on a very regular basis. I won't put partners on the spot right now, but we are working with a good number of partners.
Okay. Thank you so much, Steve, again on behalf of Microsoft and the partner community. So
yes,
with
thanks.
Yep.
It's great to have a partner on and talk about their successes and the challenges that they faced in going through this. So again, thank you. With that being said, I would like to turn the presentation over to Sharon Bennett, who is our Windows Server Specialist here. She's our Partner Technology Advisor. And with that, Sharon, if you can take over as presenter, we will begin. And as Frederick mentioned, please feel free to hold your questions, and we'll have a question and answer period at the end, or you can send your PCDM any questions as well, and we'll answer accordingly. So Sharon, if you can take over.
Sorry, I was on mute. Just to elaborate on one of Steve's points that he made was that if you're not talking to your partners about cloud, other partners and somebody else is. And as some of you may know, and those who don't, until recently I was a Microsoft partner, and I had calls coming in before I joined Microsoft to implement Office 365. I didn't go looking for it. Word gets around pretty quickly, and I come from a small town, and it's, like I said, I had calls coming in. I didn't advertise it. They just started coming. So if you're not talking to your clients about cloud, now is a good time to do so. But Steve also alluded to, your clients still need to have something on premise. And some of our clients aren't ready to go all the way to cloud yet. And a lot of times we're finding that a hybrid solution tends to work best. And so we're going to talk about some of the opportunities coming up with 2003 ending. As we know, it is ending. I'm just going to flip this slide. There we are. So 2003 is ending, and it's ending mid of next year. And so what's going to end up happening is 2003 is going to become the XP. We are still dealing with clients now who are still on XP. I mean, I know we can't see everybody, but you're probably all snickering and rolling your eyes going, yep, I still have a few on XP. And we're going to see the same thing in 2003 as of next year. This time next year, we're going to be in that final push. So we need to start educating our clients now and start moving them forward. So we need to start looking at how do we move them forward. A couple of opportunities for us right off the top is we're going to be upgrading their server hardware. A lot of times if they're on 2003, that's 10-year-old hardware. It's not going to support today's technology at all. So it's a good opportunity to sell them new software and refresh their current hardware. We're also going to be able to provide them with some application migration services. And we need to start them early, because if they've got line of business applications sitting on those servers, they're going to have to start thinking about how do we migrate those over. And a lot of times, a lot of the blockers you're going to hear is, I'm not ready to move forward, the line of business application we're using is no longer supported, or it's going to cost too much to upgrade it. So they need to start thinking about this now. We need to start planning for it. All right, so support is coming. There's nothing we can do about it. It's happening as of next year. So let's start talking to them about it. Again, that old hardware, you guys know this old hardware, it's sitting there, right? It's been, these old IBM e-servers that have been sitting there for 10 years just chugging along. What's that using in the way of energy? These old servers really consume a lot of energy. And again, let's start taking, they may have 2, 3, 4 of these old servers. Let's consolidate them into one and start virtualizing. We all know their SMBs are starting to virtualize. A couple years ago, we probably wouldn't have said that. Now we are. So this is a great opportunity for our partners and resellers at this point. So again, we're going to go through. We need to make sure that everybody has the appropriate licensing. We can never stress that enough. Something to watch for on 2012, if you have not been implementing it as of yet, it does not come with those 5 CALs. And like I said, I was a partner, and one of the last jobs I did before joining Microsoft was I installed a 2012 server. And everything was honky-dory, and I'm ordering my server, and I'm looking at I'm looking at 2008 and 2012. This was last fall, and I'm going, which one do I want? I opted for 2012 because of the new technology available, and so I knew that my client moving forward had the option to virtualize if they wanted to do so. And I ordered it, and I'm thinking, something's not right. Where are my CALs? What's going on with my CALs? And it wasn't until I went back over the purchase order and went, I'm short 5 CALs. And I didn't catch the fact that 2012 is not coming with those 5 CALs. So just tuck that in the back of your head somewhere, and just to watch out for that. Our hardware. So again, our new servers, are fantastic. You all know this. You put in servers all the time. We're not break and fix like we used to be. Servers, we put them in, a good solid server, it's going to sit there and run, and it's going to keep going. And we need to put in the new ones, get rid of the old stuff. It costs too much money both for you and for your clients to maintain these old servers. Let's get them out there and put them to rest. Also, let's improve their networking storage, or networking equipment. Again, I've seen it. I've seen some really scary stuff out there, and one of the biggest, I guess, the biggest compliments I got when I was in the business was, we don't worry about the technology anymore. We don't have to worry about it breaking. We don't have to worry about trying to come up with a workaround for it. So it's really important to make sure your clients are happy and happy with the hardware. If they're down all the time, and if you're there all the time, what I view that at, I view it as something's not right. We shouldn't have to be there all the time. And our last option here is services. And again, Steve alluded to this. We're not going in to put in the Exchange server and do break and fix like we used to. We are now, as consultants, we are a part of the team. And our part of our job as that team member is to show them how technology can help them grow their business and not hinder it. And there's many opportunities here. Again, Steve had mentioned with Office 365, SharePoint. You have customers who've never had SharePoint, and now they have an incredible tool in front of them, and they want to use it. And you have the opportunity to go in and create, simple CRMs and simple calendars. You don't have to do anything really elaborate for them, but if you give them something they've never had before, again, you're part of that team. You're working with them, and you become the value add. So you have SharePoint you can work with. We now have Power BI in Excel. So business analytics for the SMB, it's something we didn't even think about or even consider a couple of years ago. Business analysts were way over the price of SMBs. Now we have those options available to us. So how are we going to make money with this? Well, first of all, again, we want to start upgrading our clients to 2012 R2. No question. We need to start moving them off of the 2003. One of the things I always found was if a client had a whole bunch of XP desktops, in all likelihood they have 2003 in the back end. So if you're dealing with clients now who are migrating from their XP desktops, then find out what they do have in the back end. It's probably 2003. Definitely talk to them about virtualization and all the benefits. I mean, we have live migration, we have Hyper-V replica, we've got storage spaces and storage tiering. There's so much we can do now for that SMB. And again, we can cross-sell with the Office 365. So we want to move them forward, as we said, and I've touched on a few of these already. One is server consolidation. Let's get rid of all those old energy sucking servers, let's consolidate them into a couple really good workhorses. Disaster recovery, again, Hyper-V replica, the Windows backup. We can start tying this into Azure as well with a couple clicks of the button. We have flexible, cost-effective storage. As we know, most of our SMBs can't afford SANs, but they can afford JBODs. And so we can pop those in and add in storage as they need it. So we can actually add storage as the company grows, as they need that storage. We just put in some more JBODs for them. Easy remote access. Gone are the days of clunky VPN connections. We have the technology now for remote access is phenomenal. Using Server Essentials, they can tie into easy remote web access, and it's just a web page they can access from anywhere. They can even connect into their desktop. We in the office, and then we can take it a step further. We can use media. For those of you who haven't used media in the last couple of years, I highly recommend you go back to it and take a second look. What we've done is phenomenal, and that's it's almost becoming a need, a demand from our users. You look at, those of you who have kids, look at your kids and what they're doing at school, and how much they do and how much they collaborate outside of school online. They're going to expect that to move forward, and the clients are expecting to do that, move forward with that as well. Also, we have simplified management. Our dashboards are so much easier to use now than they ever were. Just kind of goes through a little bit about what was in 2003, what's in 2012, and what they're not getting. And again, I'm not going to read through this whole list, but it gives you a really good idea of what your SMBs aren't doing right now and what we could be doing for them. And some of the big ones, again, under disaster recovery and data protection, that middle section there, right out of the box, we have Hyper-V replica. One thing that got me really excited, it's on the next page, I believe, is work folders. When I came across this feature, I honestly got really excited. The idea here is that you can have your clients bring in BYOD, and you can allow them access to specific folders on your server, but you can completely control what they're doing on those devices and how you're going to encrypt the data, and you can require passwords. It's a great feature. It's something that it's one of those little things that you go, oh, this is phenomenal. So that's one of the things I always rave about. And one thing I'm going to point out here as well is the Windows Server Essentials experience. For those of you who haven't worked with the Essentials, the SBS Essentials, what that was a server, but it didn't include the Exchange and the SharePoint, and it tied in Office 365. So again, very much what Steve was talking about. It's a very easy connector to 365. And again, now we have a single pane of glass where we can manage both our local accounts and our Office 365 accounts. That option was so popular that we actually moved it into standard and data center as well. You do need CALs to run it in standard and data center, but you still have that single pane of glass, and you still have the phenomenal functionality of that Windows Server experience, or the Essentials experience. So it's a great option for those of for those SMBs that are a little bit more on the savvy part, I guess, and want to do some of the management themselves. And this is a great opportunity and a great solution for them. Again, we want to start upselling our virtualization. So we can start looking at this for our legacy apps. And we know that there's a lot of them out there. And how many of your clients right now are still sticking on XP because they go, well, we can't move forward because our applications won't port forward. They're not being manufactured anymore. They don't want to pay for the contracts to move forward with them, whatever the situation may be. And then, then they say, oh, we're going to pull that device off the network, and we'll just do the sneaker net for backups and whatever. And we all know that's not going to happen. As much as they say it is, we know it's not. So maybe we could start looking at, virtualizing those legacy applications for them. And that way, we do have a secure environment. Again, virtualization is highly replicable. Once we have it, we can keep doing it. So again, it's a very, very easy solution for us. And as we need to spin up additional servers for them, it's easy to do. Again, as a partner, I looked at virtualization back in 2008 and went, you know what, I don't think the SMB world is ready for it. Again, I've changed my tone since then. And one of the examples I like to use is I was working with one of my previous clients recently. She called in a panic. And it's like, Sharon, I need, it was their accounting package. I believe it was QuickBooks. They have a real hiccup with it when they go to update, and it has to be done in a very specific way. And so I went, what am I going to do? And for the past several years, when I've had to do this, okay, now I got to go and, I load up VirtualBox, and I got to go find an operating system and do all this for them. And it's been a real challenge. This year when she called, and it was, Tuesday night, I said, oh, sure. And they have Essentials with Office 365. I remoted in. I pulled off her data just from the remote web access. It took me a couple minutes. I had a server at home, or it might have been my laptop actually. I spun up an actual a VM for them with the operating system I needed. That was up in a few minutes because I have those base VMs all ready to go. So as I need one, I just spin it up. I loaded up the software as required, made the changes, saved the file, connected back up to remote web access through a web page, uploaded the file to her system. Boom, she was up and running the next morning. It probably took me all of half an hour to do it, and she was thrilled. So again, nice, easy model. I keep the base images, those base virtual machine images handy, and you can spin them up as needed, and then take them down. And again, our customers need new work scenarios. These SMBs, they're busy growing their business. I'm betting most of you on this call are busy growing your own business. And we know that we don't want to be bogged down with the technology, and we know there's better ways to do it. And so, again, our job as partners are to let our customers know there are better ways. And we can make their lives easier and help them grow their businesses by showing them different options. So, again, virtualization benefits for our SMBs. Again, improved application availability, performance, and scalability. Again, going back to my little story right there, again, very easy. They need a test environment. They need a dev environment of some sort. Maybe they just need a temporary server for a couple weeks for a project. Spin it up. Again, we have reduced application costs with that as well. Their current workloads, again, we can get rid of all those old servers that they're maintaining, and we can save money by virtualizing our workloads. And again, a big one right in the last point here is the disaster recovery out of the box. There is no reason why we should be losing data. We have too many options available to us. And again, I understand working with SMBs, sometimes it's a little different than working in enterprise and what we can and cannot do. But the easier we can make data recovery and disaster recovery options to them, the more chance that they're going to do it. Again, back to Steve on this and the cross-sell with Office 365. So you're looking at SMBs that need a server for line of business applications for whatever reason. Again, you can tie in Office 365 with it so easily. It's a couple clicks of the button. Grab yourself a cup of coffee and you just step through it. It takes all of 5-10 minutes, if that, to connect up your server with Office 365. And again, you can also add in the Office suite to that as well as necessary. I'm not going to get into why the Office 365. We've been talking about 365 already with Steve. But again, my little story on this is, if I had a client who was looking to either upgrade a server or actually put a server in, I would always sell it with 365. And honestly, from a partner point of view, it's an easy sell. If they've been using some type of pop email or Gmail or something along those lines, and they're finagling and trying to figure out, oh, my mailbox is full again, and then you got to back up all those mailboxes that are on site, putting in the 365 with the server in one, you go in, you do it all in one day. Honestly, it's a fairly easy sell, and the clients are thrilled once it's in. And they go, we can do this, we can do that. Think about the clients who are not able to share calendars and contacts. To us, it's a little thing. To them, that's huge. So if you can go in and put that and give them that, you're a friend for life. You really are. The more you help them, the more they're going to just come back to you. I'm going to touch a little bit here on the licensing. For standard and data center, the difference between the two is the virtual licensing. So standard comes with two instances, whereas data center is unlimited. The breaking point between those two is about 8. So if they're looking at more than 8 VMs, data center is the better option. It's more cost effective. If they go up to 8 and they're using standard, you can stack the licenses, and that information is there. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I've already talked about CALs, but just again to review CALs, everybody needs a CAL. Remember, if they have 2008 CALs and they installed 2012, they are going to need 2012 CALs. CALs are equal to the operating system. They match the operating system and they go down. So they do not work up. Again, user CAL versus device CALs. And then we have RDS CALs as well. So again, make sure your clients are licensed appropriately. The last thing you want is one of your clients to call you saying, I'm going to be audited. So we want to make sure that, again, for each of you, if you want to go through, make sure that you're getting up to speed, your readiness on the opportunities available to you for 2012. We do have many resources available to you to get familiar with 2012. And I'm thinking there's probably a list available. If not, it will be on Yammer. And there's actually a couple of resources right there. I'll just quickly touch through some of these. The Get Ahead of the Game series, that is, in this case, it's a 2-day series. It's both available online and on site. We do have, I was in Montreal recently delivering it. I've delivered it here in Toronto as well. Again, our life cycle is there, so start talking to your partners that have 2003, or your clients have 2003. We need to really start educating them and start moving them. Moving from XP is one thing. Moving a server and their infrastructure is another, so we need to really put the time into it. And again, we have some additional resources there for you as well. I'm sure these will be available to you. And that is the end of my deck. I'm going to pass it back to either Brian or Frederick.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Greatly appreciated. I'm going to take everyone off mute now, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to chime in and ask questions or through the messaging window. Again, as always, you can reach out to your PCDM, so Frederick, Sorab, or myself, and ask us questions if something's not top of mind right now. Feel free to jump in any time. And we can also leverage Sharon. So again, reach out to Frederick, Sorab, or myself, and we can pull in Sharon as required. That being said, we'll see if anyone has any questions at this time. Sounds like we don't have any questions at this point. So again, this session will be posted to our Yammer site, so make sure that you are on that. If not, we can send out an invite for you. The session will be online shortly and available. Reach out to Frederick, Sorab, or myself if there's any questions at that point. And as mentioned, we can pull in Steve if you have questions for him, or Sharon as required. Sorry, it looks though we may have a question coming in, or not. Nope. Okay, so with that, Sharon, thank you very much for your time.
Anytime.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you, Sorab. Thanks for everyone for attending. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you all.